Hello everyone, welcome back to another lesson. In today's lesson, we are going to do another coding exercises using nested loops. However, before we dive in, if you haven't had the chance to rate this course yet, I kindly encourage you to take a moment to do so. So your feedback is incredibly valuable in helping us improve and ensure the future learners have the best possible experience. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and rating this course. So now let's move on to our next coding exercise. Here we would like to write a program that prints a 4 times 6 rectangular of asterisks. So what we would like to be printed would be something like this. So we have 4 rows and we have 6 columns here. We would like to print that and we need to use a nested loop to do so. So the outer loop would have four uh four range, like I starts from 1 and we'll go up until 4 because we would like to have 4 rows here, and as the statement mentions, and then as we would like to have 6 columns, we are having the inner loop to range from 1 to 6. So we start from here. Let's run the code first and see how it works, and then we will start analyzing the code. Okay, so now we see that we have 4 rows and 6 columns. So let's analyze the code. So initially here I equals 1, enter the loop. So it checks to see if I equals 1 and it's lower than 4, I plus plus. So I equals 1, enter the outer loop. And when we enter the inner loop, so j is equal to 1. So I would say I equal 1, j equal 1. Then when j equals 1 in the first round, it says print 1 asterisk. So it prints 1 asterisk. Then the inner loop is finished one time and it goes back again. So it increased the value of j from 1 to 2, and it comes back here and it prints 1 asterisk for us. Then j was 2. Now we increase the value of j by another value, and j becomes a 3. Then 1 asterisk is also printed here. It continues until j equals 6, and we print another asterisk here. So it would be like 6 asterisks would be printed, because when j equals 1, it prints 1, then it's 2, another asterisk, then j is 3, another asterisk, then j is 4, 5, and 6, another asterisk. So the range of the j will, depending on the range of the j, we are going to print asterisks here. So we have the value of from 1, j equals to 1, and j lower than or equals to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we are going to have 6 asterisks being printed, because this is how the range tells us. So when j reaches its upper bound, the inner loop is finished. When the inner loop is finished, we finish this column. We have the endl syntax here. So like it's like here, we printed 6 asterisks. Now we are here, we have one endl, which will force the program to go to the next line here. So when we go to the next line, we go back to the outer loop where I was 1 initially. Now we increase the value of I by 1 and I becomes 2. I equals 2, and j starts from 1 to 6. And because of that, we will have another 6 asterisks being printed, because when j equals 1, it enters the loop, print 1 asterisk. then j is increased to the value of 2, then another asterisk is printed here until j reaches its maximum level. So then when j reaches 6 again, we finish the inner loop and we go to the next line. We are here. When the second inner loop is finished, we go until here because of end L, and we have the outer loop. So in the outer loop, I now equals to 3, and the same logic goes for I equals 4. So basically, if you would like to have like 4 rows, we have the upper bound, we have the range of I from 1 to 4. And if we would like to have 6 columns, we need to have the j or the inner loop has to be from 1 to 6. If we would like to have 8 columns, we can simply say j starts from 1 and it's going to be lower than or equal 8, for example. So this way we are going to have 8 columns here. So let's try and see how it works. Let's see. Yeah. So here, as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 columns here now because we mentioned we would like it to go up until 8. And if we would like to have, for example, only 2 rows, we can change the range of I and say it starts from 1 and it's going to go up until 2. So let's compile again. So yeah, here we see that now we are having only 2 columns. So depending on what we would like to have as columns and as number of columns and rows, we can change these numbers. And also now we are printing asterisks. So we can print whatever we want. For example, we can print addition. So let's try this one. We can print additions, or we can simply print we can simply print uh, I times j, or whatever that we want. So it depends on what we would like to print. So now it's going to give us the value of I times j every time. So there is a, oh, sorry, I need to put this sign here. I forgot. Okay. So when we compile now, okay. So here we see that it is printing the values of I times j. Like for example, I equals 1 and j equals 1, so it prints 1. Then I is still 1, but j is now 2 because the value of j is increasing from 1 to 8 now. So then 2 times 1, here we have it, then 3 times 1 we have it, then 4 times 1, etc. Then we finish the inner loop, the first inner loop, and we go for the second loop. So we go for the incremented value of the I, which is the second iteration of the outer loop. So I equals 2, now we have I equals 2, and when I equals 2, j equals 1, we have 2. When I equals 2, j equals 2, we have 4. When I equals 2, j equals 3, we have 6, etc. until we reach the I equals 2, j equals 8, which the result will be 16. So if we would like to have like now 4 columns, we can also try this like that. So here, if you would like to have like 4 columns, we see that the 4 columns is shown like, sorry, 4 rows. So 4 rows are added. So I equals 4 here, j equals 1. So the result would be 4 until it gets here to the last number where it is you see the last row means that the last iteration of the outer loop, so I would be equal to 4, and it is the last column, so columns are not very organized, but this is the last column, so it means that the j also equals its largest value, which is 8. So 8 times 4 would be 32. So in order to have a matrix, for example, of numbers, we know that we can use nested loops, and also the number of rows depend on the outer loop and the number of columns depends on the inner loop.